Oh my God. So I'm Ross.
I'm Ree.
And I'm Princess.
And we are Get the Gist podcast,
where we make the hard conversations easy.
You are now tuning into your weekly subscription to the Gist.
And you know, guys, we are with the Acast Creator Network. We hope you're enjoying those ads.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
We appreciate every single listen.
Yeah.
Shawty, she a freak, 10-10 freak. She don't want to speak, she want beat to the beat. I'm the voice of the street, press a freak in the sheet. She want me for her tea, I got me for your meat. I am mad. Shawty, she not man when
So how are you guys this weekend? Because we're shooting on a Monday for the first time.
Weekend.
Bro, I can't even tell you I can't even remember what I did on the weekend. Oh.
Anything happened in this country?
Bro. I went to go try find honey. Did you actually know this, Princess? That if you have hay fever, if you get honey that's made in Ireland, it's supposed to help with your hay fever symptoms.
Like real honey?
Real honey, yeah.
Swallow it like...
No, honey that was like where the bees got the pollen from in Ireland. So you know the way when you go to the shops, it's usually imported honey. But if you get honey from Ireland, it's supposed to help with your hay fever symptoms because you're already taking the pollen that the bees have been like... yeah.
So my workplace actually has a beehive. So we have like real honey.
Source me with that.
So yeah, I'll see
source me with that.
Sneak because I remember last year they were giving away like excess honey because they're like, oh, we just have too much. So if anybody wanted to take honey home,
I bought hay fever tablets for €15.
Bro, do you get
€15, bro?
But there's a little market down in Clonsilla. You know where the train station is? There's like a little market. They do fresh like fruit. No, they do fresh veg. But they sell honey there. So, like, at least it's in the area as well.
So it's the pollen that's around you.
The pollen that's around you. Which actually makes sense if you think about it. Because the pollen that the bees are making, you're also eating. So it's counteracting your symptoms.
Guys, this is just so funny that you're allergic to the outside. But anyways.
It's not
that. Honestly, it's embarrassing.
It's not that.
Y'all are allergic to the outside.
Embarrassed.
No, it's not.
You're allergic to daytime light because at nighttime your hay fever is out.
No, it's not.
No?
It's worse.
It's worse than that?
Is it, yeah?
Because I was thinking it's pollen. I'm like, there's no sun at night.
I think I'm sick. I think my hay fever gave me a cold.
Yeah, I feel that.
I honestly think my hay fever gave me a cold because why am I like coughing?
So I should be grateful.
Bro, because it's like... Because my nose gets runny. It's like it gets into the back of your throat. And then your throat starts to go. So if I start coughing on this podcast, just know it's hay fever.
It's hay fever.
Nah, man. I just think
crazy.
It's not the outside. I hate when people say that. It's more to that. It's more.
What?
There's stuff in the air. There's stuff in the air.
Have you ever been down the country?
Pollen.
Down the country? Carlo? I want to last a minute.
Nah, bro.
All the fields.
I'd be on the bus hoping that like... Because obviously, sometimes it's summer, so it's hot. But I have hay fever, so I can't close the window. So I'm just bare kissing my teeth at everyone that's sweating. Well, I have hay fever. I have to be considerate of the other people. I just take 2 tablets, bro. I'd be grand.
2 tablets? When did you take 2? You're only supposed to take 1, no?
Hey, one is not strong enough.
Yeah.
Gotta take 2. I'm good, though. Shit, look, I'm good. I'm good.
No, me and my cousin.
But an OD ain't hurt. No, I'm joking. Hey, don't OD.
Disclaimer.
No. Obviously, like it's like 2 is okay.
You're not taking the
not 3. 3 is crazy.
Girls, you just sleep. Puritan.
All this hippie vibe. Starting to cough. Stop talking.
No, you went down. Have you ever been to Wexford?
No. No.
Wexford,
I've been
the county. Wexford. So I have a mobile home down there, which is just like a really fancy word for a caravan. So we just go down every summer, like. So I'd go down there like when I was a kid. We'd spend summers down there, but it's like this like site where it's like you have a access code to get in. Not anyone can access. We have a private entrance to the beach. Like it's very I don't know, posh. But we went down there last weekend on the bank holiday. Me and my cousin. I actually regretted it the moment I got down there because of the pollen. I was like sitting on the grass, my eyes started swelling, I was coughing, my nose was itching. I cannot deal.
Yeah, you take your tablets, bro.
Yeah.
Take your tablets,
bro. I need the tablets, the nose spray, the eye spray, the face wipes. Yeah.
I remember I was dating this one guy and I told him I had hay fever and he bought me tablets and the nasal thing.
The nasal thing goes crazy.
It was still a bastard, but I know exactly what she's talking about. Just one thing I flipping hate is when you have those little flashbacks of sometimes good or bad memories with like your exes or whatever the case may be. Yesterday, I had a flashback about my ex, but this one was not a good one, but I laugh about it now because we're healed. So it's okay to laugh. But I was like, then some gospel song came on and I was singing along to it and I was like, shit, man, I forgot I could sing. But I remember there was one time, like, well, not one time, it was actually a couple of times. But this is a distinctive story. This was one of the very first times where I was like, yeah, this guy's an enemy.
I'm scared for this to land, not gonna lie.
There's a special place in hell waiting for this boy. I'm telling you. There's Lucifer has kept a nice seat beside him. Yeah. So
keep it warm.
Keep it warm.
One morning, so my friend was over. Her and her fellow were staying over in my house, right? And we woke up in the morning. Now, she's a singer. Her fellow was someone that I actually went to church with. He used to play the piano. So, like, all of us were up in the morning on a Sunday singing gospel music. My ex came in and sat beside me, and he just looks at me and goes, while I was singing.
That is absolutely wild.
They were in the room and everything. I just sat there and I looked and I was like,
Ross, you have a voice, you know.
Imagine your boyfriend doing that. Yeah, no, your voice is absolutely amazing. Yeah. We're gonna monetize that.
We're gonna have a 5-minute section just Ross singing.
We're looking at a music manager here. Yeah. Literally. But yeah, in front of your friends is crazy.
So imagine if I react now, and this is the thing that men will turn around and say women are crazy. If I was to spaz out, I would have looked like a psycho. Yeah. Because they wouldn't have seen what he did. But if I snapped, I would have been like, but listen, at that point, I sat there and I was like, damn. So there'll be times where I'll be singing, I'll be told to shut up or keep quiet or shh. So eventually I just stopped singing. And then over time, it just became a thing that I was no longer doing. So I sat down yesterday and I was like, I can actually sing, I actually forgot that. This is something I can actually do. Yeah, niggas ain't shit.
I'm so happy that you found your voice again. No pun intended.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Woo! Yeah. On that positive note, let's get into it.
We're healed.
Yeah. That story was shocking. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just so funny. You get my flashbacks. It's all well. He's somebody else's problem now. Good luck.
Yeah.
Just the week, please.
Just of the week. Oh my God, guys. Tiana Taylor is with Aaron Pierre. That's Mufasa. Like, they're actually in a relationship.
I love that.
I love that for her too.
Yeah.
She just got out of a very serious divorce last year. And look at the glow up. At the glow up. Yeah. Now she's with the hottest man of 2024.
I wanted to ask, just on that topic with Tiana Taylor, divorce, breaking up and stuff like that. Obviously, they've broken up now.
Yeah.
Who do you think was in the wrong by the way they're acting after the relationship?
Oh, you can tell he was in the wrong, for sure.
You think?
It's tough to tell, but I feel like
he cheated.
Oh, did he?
She had a clause in their prenup.
Oh, and that's how you know.
Yeah. Because I think what it was that it kind of got exposed somehow that she had gotten so many things out of divorce and people were kind of like, what the hell? We're sick and tired of women collecting for men. Because, he was an NBA baller. But it's weird because she's also Tiana Taylor. She's done a lot. And then this was also something else was I don't know, maybe this is why I related to it a little bit, is because she also stopped singing at some point. She actually quit music. Now she's gone back to music because Aaron Pierre was in the music video.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's sometimes you just need to let those horrible men go so that you can go out.
I think obviously in regards to guilty, quote unquote guilty, he looks guilty because he's the quiet one, but she's still doing her. But I think sometimes if people break up, right, one way I know, first of all, one way someone is single is when they're posting a lot on social media. Secondly, how you know they're guilty and single is, I think if usually in women's cases, if they break up with someone, they end up just being more free or seeming more free online. So they're posting a bit more.
The glow up
as well. But with guys, I think it takes them a little bit longer to recover from a relationship. So they go low.
No, I think it's nearly the opposite, really. I think guys bounce back immediately, but they haven't internalized what they've actually gone through.
In regards, are they guilty? I mean, talking about the non-guilty guys.
Non-guilty guys?
Yeah. I think
Okay,
they, I think they,
the non-guilty guys.
yeah,
are
I think
quiet.
they go quiet
they
for a
have
little
to be
bit,
quiet
and then
for a little
they
bit.
they go on grind mode. They
But
chase
you
the
know what it
bag.
is? When they're quiet, right? It's not even that they're on like a process of like their healing or whatever. Sometimes I think they're just so bamboozled that they're actually shook that the babe they were dating actually did such things. And they're quiet and it's ghosts and they're like figuring out life and then proper like internalizing the relationship. Should I have left? Why was I there for so long?
You're questioning it.
Yeah.
Well, controversial opinion, right? Do you think when people get to the point of breakup, there's one person that's guilty?
No, I don't think there's one person that's guilty. I think with everything in life, you're 50% responsible.
Yeah.
That's been my latest motto. You're 50% responsible for everything. There's certain parts you've had, because sometimes you might not have been the one in the wrong, but maybe you stayed in it a lot longer than you should have.
Do you know what? I saw a quote like that the other day. It was sort of like, who is the real villain? Because it's like, okay, yeah, you might not have been the villain in the relationship, but you were the villain to yourself, because why would you stay
Why
in
would
like
you sit around
like
for so long in
it and be like that? Do you know what I mean?
Because even with the Tiana Taylor thing with her husband, when they actually separated, she was quiet. She didn't want the public to know about the divorce. He was the loudest in the room.
Exactly.
And now that she's with the hottest man, he's the quietest.
Well, that's the second man that's been humbled recently.
Yeah, true. This goes straight into the Cardi B situation.
Oh my God.
What do you guys think?
Guys, I'm so ready for that song Outside to drop.
Oh my God, why can't I remember the lyrics? I was blasting it.
I was blasting it as well. I'll find it.
Do wrong. That's easy.
I think it's from those two situations. I think like
nothing, low down, dirty dogs.
I think the person who makes the loudest noise after a relationship does look the guiltiest, rather than the person that like takes time to really just get themselves back on their feet. Then comes out.
What the hell am I bringing?
Comes out. What do you think?
I think the person who is the loudest is probably the person that's hurting the most.
Yes,
I think
it means they're guilty.
That doesn't mean that they're guilty. I think the people that are loudest,
situations.
Yeah, sometimes the people that are loudest are the people that can't handle their emotions the most.
Yeah,
they act out. They can't. They're not as emotionally intelligent with sitting with their thoughts and their feelings and just actually reflecting on their relationship. Whereas the loudest person, they don't want to think about their feelings. They don't want to reflect on what went wrong.
Right.
And that's why they act out online. They're doing the most.
I agree with you, because I actually was in that exact situation. But in this particular situation, I did wrong. I was wrong. I'm the one. I take full accountability. However, in this kind of situation, though, he went online and was chatting. But I was quiet.
Because he was hurt.
Yeah. I was hurt too. So I posted an Instagram picture, but that's just because, I'm an influencer.
Yeah.
I don't like looking like they got to me. Only like my girls would ever know what's really happening. But I don't like outside knowing what's going on in my personal relationship. But the other person did. However, I felt like, although yes, I did wrong, there's a part of him that I felt like he also did wrong too, in regards to like how he viewed me in the relationship, which kind of alluded to his response to the whole situation, if that makes sense. But I still did wrong, but that's the way I handled it after a relationship.
Yeah, I think, with both sides, people can be guilty for different reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it like boundaries can be crossed on both sides. And it's sort of, when you're in a relationship and even in a friendship, even in just everyday life, you just have to realize, you know what? I went wrong. And that probably didn't help that situation. It's not right what was done to me, but was I my true self? Was I my best self for those situations?
Yeah.
And sometimes 9 times out of 10 you can probably say, no, I probably could have done better. But that just shows that you're on your emotional growth journey, which like I'm so happy to be on. Because it's like, you know when you're thinking back in the day when you're younger, you're like, no, I could never be wrong. I can never. But I think there's some peace in actually just looking at yourself, like at your true self.
Do you know what I'm struggling with at the moment? I think I was telling you about this, Demi.
I'm so scared.
No. It's nothing to be scared about. It's just sometimes I feel like you meet people, especially when it's like dating, right? I sit down and have a conversation with the big man upstairs. And I had to ask him, what was that reason? What was the reason that I had to meet that person?
Yeah.
What was the reason? Why? What was the reason? Like, what lesson did I have to learn?
I saw something online, right? And it said, if going through breakups or trials and tribulations is the only way you run to God, is the only time you run to God, you're going to keep on doing that cycle. So maybe in that situation, in those kind of situations, we all need to be a bit more grateful and not just run to God as although yes, Jesus Christ is our savior, yes, but not only using it in times of trouble, be acknowledging him in the good times as well.
Yeah, you give thanks. Damn. Praise him in advance. You know the vibes.
Hey, what?
But no, it is. I think when you're going through tough times, that's when you always seek guidance. Do you know what I mean? In all different types of life. You seek guidance with your friends. I think there's definitely studies been done on when you look on reviews online, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a negative review. We just live in a world where when there's something negative, we want to talk about it, we want to figure it out. But we actually need to start looking at it being let's talk about the good in the world. Let's talk about the positive, because there's actually not a lot on the day-to-day. Literally, I was looking at the news. Did you see this week there's the ICE raids in the US? Do you know what I mean? What's going on in Palestine?
Awful.
Yeah, Paris as well.
Yeah, Paris. All these bad things in the world that's going on. Yeah. It's we got to find the joys where we can find them, but also give light to the bad times.
Yeah.
I'm okay, thanks, Jesus. I thought that person was my soulmate.
But you wouldn't be where you are if you didn't go through that. So you have to be thankful for even all the good and bad things in your life.
And all the good things that happened in life.
Oh, I'm great now. Oh yeah, there's some good.
But there was good things.
There's some fun times.
But it shaped you the person you are today. What's that word? The butterfly effect. You would not be where you are. If you didn't take every path that you took now.
When I tell you, when you mention every path, this is exactly why I thought that person was my soulmate. We're from the same exact place in Nigeria. Our family live quite similar, so we could have met when we were younger. When my mom moved to England, she moved across the road from him. We could have walked past each other. Would not have even known. After I got on my breakup, I went to this party. My friend was at that party, and tickets were sold out. I was a chancer, and I DM'd them, and I was like, "Hey, mind letting some 2 Irish babes in?" And they were like, "Okay, yeah, we'll open up the tickets again for you to get tickets, and you can come." That was his party. I just didn't meet him at that party still. Then a couple of months, literally butterfly effect, a couple of months later, my friend started dating his friend. So his friend met me and was like, "You remind me a lot of my friend." So he went off and told him about me. Then me and another one of my friends ended up doing a photo shoot. And which was really weird because it's I don't really model anymore, but I was just asked to randomly help someone for their brand. And he was flying into Ireland that day to go hang out with that same friend at that photo shoot. And that friend was picking him up at 12 and I was picking up my friend who was dating his friend at 1 at the airport. So both were leaving the exact same place to pick up these same people. Ended up meeting that night. He was already following me on Instagram for weeks ahead.
Do you get? But
so I'm like, yo, God, what was that?
What was amazing? Because it got you here. It got you here. So you can talk about it on the pod.
Yep.
You can give people guidance. So even though everything will fall into place, it doesn't mean that's your soulmate.
Run!
It does not mean that's your soulmate.
Run!
Your soulmate will show himself.
Yeah.
Or them, herself.
Brittany Renner and
Kevin Gates.
Kevin Gates.
Soulmates. She thought that was her soulmate.
And they got divorced 52 days later. Listen, hey, better now than never, innit?
Wow. You know what though, right?
What?
What was her reason? Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates.
Right.
People can be who they want to be. Being on social media is so tough because they just went through, what? So when you meet someone and then you feel like this is your person, right? For example, when you go, it's basically like a holiday romance. You go on holiday, you meet someone and you guys are bonding so good. You're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to bring you back home. You bring them back home. You guys are trying to make it work. They're like, yes, we're going to get married. Meantime, you guys are still in the talking.
Why I keep calling people today is crazy.
You guys are still in the talking stage, but they just kind of sped things up.
Wait, so
you got married.
So were they dating for a long time? Who are these people?
What's her name again?
Brittany Renner.
Brittany Renner. I was literally going to her boyfriend in Chabby Tree. Brittany Renner used to be like this Instagram baddie who decided to convert into Islam.
Okay.
So like now she says she's practicing the religion properly, and he's also Muslim.
Okay.
So they ended up getting married. Bear in mind, this man has already been married, divorced, he has kids, and he's not, as much as he says he practices Islam, I wouldn't call him a very good practicing Muslim.
Yeah.
To be honest. He recently said something about LeBron James's wife, saying that he doesn't think LeBron James should be with his wife, and he loves how white women view LeBron James. That's the type of man Kevin Gates is.
Okay.
You're so funny.
Interesting.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Well, maybe in the eyes of their religion, like if she's a practicing revert, the only way that she would be able to be in a relationship, well, like to be in a sexual relationship would be like if that was her husband.
To get married,
Which
is fair. So, hey, that's a way to think about it.
So she explained that their divorce is following the Islamic transition of 90-day waiting period, which is intended to allow time for reconciliation and to confirm if she's pregnant. So it may not be over if he got her knocked up.
Wow. Shocked. Waiting.
That's a lot.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Guys, on the bus here, I just finished watching this new Netflix series called Straw. Have you guys seen it?
Yeah, my God. Let's dive into that because
guys, like, you know what? Yeah, I felt it made me feel a lot. But I want to let you guys talk about how you guys saw the movie first before I bring up a topic that I drew from it. I thought the movie was really good.
First of all, I think it was called Straw because that was the last straw that broke the camel's back.
That was it. I think it just shows, like, you know, the way, like, when you're having a bad day, like, and nothing goes right.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely nothing goes right. Because I think at first, I didn't know what was going on with the movie because I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I didn't know if I was liking it or not.
Yeah.
I was sort of like, oh, what's going on here?
What's going on?
But the more and more you get into it, and like trying not to spoil it for anyone because honestly, such a good watch. But it gets to the point where this woman, she's doing everything that she can for her child. She's a single mom. She has no support. She's doing the best she can. Her child gets sick. And she's just trying to pay the bills so she can make her child better in any way possible. And everything that she's doing putting good out into the world. Even when she has nothing to pay for, she's getting shout out for her rent. She can still give back to the poor. And every person that she meets in her life, bar like one friend, has let her down. Like everyone is literally on her back. She doesn't have a good boss. She can't get a paycheck. She can't get her check not bounced, cash.
Yeah.
She like everybody, she's walking in unfortunate circumstances. She's catching blame for things that has nothing to do with her fault. And it's like she gets to the point where she just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And I think what was so touching with that movie is I feel like we've all gotten to a point, maybe not to that extent, where we just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
All these little things. It's never just one thing that happens in the world that you feel like negative and you can't go on. It's all these little things.
Little things building up.
Yeah.
There were so many things for me that I felt like it touched on. Okay, first things first, we need to say Tyler Perry, I know he has come out with like TV shows like what is Beauty and the Black.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people don't take seriously. But whenever he works with Taraji, he creates magic. Like Acrimony and this are up there par for par.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like he's just able to do this thing where, like, I know a lot of people complain that why is he always like showing Black struggle, or especially Black women struggle. But I think this is the only way people sometimes actually sit back and actually understand and realize the struggle that Black women are going through. You know, it's a massive problem within our society. And he's also one of the few people that cast Black people on a regular and actually play them what they're worth. So it's actually nice to see Tiana Taylor and Taraji, and I think is it Sherry Shepherd? I don't know if that's her name.
Sherry Shepherd? No, I'm not too sure.
I think her name is Sherry anyways. But it was really nice to see all three women in very, very different roles, but also once again, it just sort of highlights that sometimes it's only Black women who are really there to support Black women. Because that's what I got for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Everybody felt her but the Black women in her life. Literally. And I think that's something that needs to be extremely highlighted. There's a lot of things I know, like within America, that's a massive problem, and I think it's only getting worse, as we can see with ICE at the moment as well. Like it's at an all-time low, and it's another case of health insurance. Like even just the statistics. I think I was looking this up. I'll try and find it. Even just the statistics of people who have health insurance, that's low in America. Like a lot of people don't have the things to actually help them and get by on a daily basis. And it's like the biggest lesson that I learned from it was that we need to extend grace. Grace needs to be given all the time, because that's where everyone failed her. If one person had done one thing nice, that could have completely changed her whole day. And the only reason why she was giving grace at the end was because the Black girl in the bank recorded it and put it on live. So once everyone, the whole masses, were able to see what the problem was, and the community were able to come together, there's always power in numbers. Once the community is able to come together, that's when you're able to fix things. So there was a quote that someone said in it, and it really, really stuck to me. And they said, people don't realize how expensive it is to be poor. And I was like, that shook me. She couldn't pay her rent. Every single check was going towards medicine. Couldn't afford to fix her driver's license. Like if that lady maybe gave her a break in the morning over her rent, maybe her day would have started a little better. She had no money. She still gave money to the homeless guy in the wheelchair. It was like, please stop drinking. I can't see you like this. Here you go. Here's a little something. The fact that she had nothing and she still gave showed that she was a good person. Going off to drop her kid at work. Not at work, at school. The principal stopped and looked at her a bit funny. That was a moment for the principal to have gone in and check in on her. Because you just knew her daughter died. Why didn't you go up to her and be like, oh, are you okay? Even when she showed up to the school and was like, oh, you called me. Why was there no one there to even stop her from leaving, to sit down and be like, are you okay? Like, are people asking these questions? Are you okay? Like, you see people struggling and suffering and you just walk away. That's not right. It's not normal. Then she gets to her workplace. Leave any job that doesn't care about your mental health. Leave. I'm so happy she shot him in the head.
Yeah. But,
spoiler.
Yeah. But
Sorry, guys.
But I think that's, people are at a point of that's such a low sometimes that they can't leave. They can't leave the jobs. Like they can't get work where they're going to be appreciated. They're working some low end job, making some low end money to just meet their ends. And that's what's so sad. And people let me start that again. Corporations, businesses, people will take advantage of that. They will see people at their lowest and they will capitalize on that to milk them for every cent that they have.
Greedy people.
Greedy people.
I was gonna say, just touching off Roz, obviously, but let's not neglect, the pressures of society, like capitalism and everything. But what I got from that is, and it was something I actually wanted to bring up before, but it's good that like it's brought up now, is that I don't think people understand the meaning of girls girl. I think society has made it really male centered. Obviously, like, girls girl, like if you see a guy cheating on his missus or whatever, tell the missus no. Girls it goes beyond it. It goes beyond male centered thing. Being a girl's girl is like what that woman, the bank manager, did like for her. You get me? It goes. I wrote a point here. Like it's just like, for example, right? When you hear your girl is going through something, being there for her and not just like pushing her back to the abuser, pushing her back to the situation that she's trying to escape, being there even when it's hard. This Taraji was holding a gun the whole time, but that woman was still there regardless.
She went back into the bank.
Regardless, like being like, it's about like, if you feel like your girl or you see a woman having an unhealthy lifestyle in regards to maybe food, in regards to drinking, helping them the best way you can, withdraw from that. It could be hard, but like people just think girls, just surface level. No, it goes way deeper than that. And I think, in this society, I feel like it is very male. It's still very much like there's still a lot of what's that word? When it's like
centered.
Men are controlling society. What's that English? What's it? Patriarchy.
The patriarchy.
Yeah.
I think like just to piggyback off that, I think people, it's good to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to be a good person. I realized the other day, like completely off topic, it was actually after one of the podcasts one of the days, and I had such a horrible day. Like nothing went right for me that day. Came here, did the podcast. I was out of the house since like 5 a.m. And I was sitting there. I went into Aldi, right? Just around the corner. Didn't know that they don't have any Wi-Fi. And I keep my money, I never keep my money in it, like on Rev. I always put it into
transfer the same.
Yeah, little things
Literally,
like that.
It saved a lot. Like
But
these processes.
It does, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Just that payment you don't want to go through. So you just move it in.
Bro, I hear it. Yeah. For real.
But I went in there and I'm literally like trying to get it. I'm trying to like transfer the funds back into my account, yeah? And this woman's like, what's going on? I was like, I'm just trying to do this. And I'm doing this. I've never been in this shop before. And she's like, yeah, you don't need internet. You can just pay. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I need to transfer. And she was like, but we don't have any Wi-Fi in here, yeah? And just was like, so like rude to me. Bearing in mind, it's like nearly 10 o'clock at this point. Like all I want to do is get home. I've got some food and I'm just getting irate there. And then the manager comes in and he's like, oh, like you just need to go outside, but keep your stuff to the side. That's fine, yeah? But the anger that I felt in that moment, yeah, and I'm actually not a Karen, but that moment I was a Karen because I was like, I have never been here before. Do you know what I mean? And I sort of pushed back on her. And it just reminded me, like, you never know when it's someone's breaking point. Do you get me? Like, to her, I just sounded like some woman that was just getting annoyed because they didn't have any Wi-Fi in Aldi. But she didn't know that I've been up since 5 in the morning. I haven't been home. I'm sick. I was like 10,000 things on my head. So it's just giving people grace. As back what you were saying, Roz, like in the sense of you don't know where someone is at their limit, and just going and saying, giving them a smile, just being friendly can actually do a lot more than people think.
Yeah, 100%. And I think people like, so this guy was talking on TikTok last week. I think I sent you guys a video, and he was like, do the opposite of what society tells you to do. Society will tell you that, like, what's that saying? No, like basically don't be nice. Society will tell you don't be nice, doesn't cost you anything. Like, obviously it says be nice. Some people are saying be nice, but like most like society is telling you to be selfish, look out for yourself, grind for yourself, all that stuff there. No. Like, we have to look out for each other. We have to like be able to stand up for each other whenever we can. Yeah. Like, for example, like us getting educated, yes, to get a good job, but it's also so we can give back
to the community.
Give back to the family.
I think that's something that we're suffering majorly, is that there's no sense of community.
Yeah.
It's people always constantly trying to step above each other rather than actually working together.
Collaboration.
Like helping each other. Like that was the one thing that you could see sort of in that show, like the people at the end of the day who were able to help her. Because if it wasn't for the fact that the whole community came up and showed up outside the bank, they would have shot her.
They would have
100% shot her. If it wasn't for the other lady who went in, they would have shot her. And then the one thing that I didn't like, though, that there's always one. Remember that black girl who went to the bathroom and she wrote on the window, she was like, no bomb, just a single gun. And I was like, do you always have that one selfish person? Because the whole reason why they didn't come in shooting was because they thought she had a bomb.
Yeah.
So by her writing that, that's how they got that information to know, okay, let's show up with all these lasers and point it at her. And it was just like her whole entire world was shattered. And it was so heartwarming. Number one, seeing Tiana Taylor constantly fight and advocate for her on the outside and be like, no, like you can see she's a gentle person. You can see her character. I can see this is a woman that's struggling. And once again, it took a black woman who had been in her shoes, a little bit of her shoes, because she had not fully seen everything that happened to her, to actually extend that grace and be like, no, chill, like let me talk to her.
It's taking the human out of the situation. It's taking the human out of the situation and actually looking at them as a person rather than a bad situation. Like
100%. Like when she punched that guy in the face, and I was like, bad B.
Yeah.
Bad B, I know that hurt. And then even with the other woman, once she was aware that she had lost her child and she still sat there with her in the bank, and she was like, even though she knew she was delirious, she was like, yeah, I'll take care of your baby girl. No problem. I'll talk to my husband. Just trying to get her to a state of calmness. And I was like, community is what helped her in that place. Because although it was the community that failed her, but it was just the fact that the Black women were able to all band up together.
Your community doesn't need to be hundreds.
No.
And I think
Sometimes you just need the 2-3 people in your corner.
That's what you need. You just need even one person. You can bring it back to minimum one person in your corner. It can do so much, because what that woman went through was a nervous breakdown. She lost everything in a split second.
Everything she'd been working so hard for, because she wanted to go to nursing school, but she quit it. Been working 2 jobs to get the medicine for her daughter. And she always felt like from the very, very beginning, there was no one there to help her. The doctors didn't want her to keep her baby. She fought to keep her child. Then she gets her child. Her child is sick. She's fighting the school, telling her, no, it's okay, yes, sometimes you might think she's hungry. She's not. Like, I'm working 2 jobs to put food on the table. Okay, you might think she's dirty. Sometimes my car stops working and we just have to walk and it gets hot. They were like, oh, you don't have AC? Like, this town that we're in is humid. And she was like, I don't have the money for the bills. Like, I'm trying with what I have. Like, she always found a way to provide. And she always had people. No one was ever saying to her, you're doing a great job. It was always, you can do better.
Yeah. No. It was, I think, to be honest, to sum it up, like, it was a great movie. Like, I literally, as after I watched that, like, I got so upset and I just went straight into my daughter and I just gave her a big hug, because I was like, you just never know. Like, I think, especially when you have kids, like, when you look at it from that point of view, like, just them being gone in a split second, like, even the thought of that got me so emotional that I was like, I need to just make sure, like, go back to reality. So to actually live it, it's a whole different kettle of fish.
It is. So I looked up there the statistics, just because this is an American movie, right? So I looked up the statistics just for America, and it's given me, like, I think from like a census from 2023. And the first thing I looked up was the statistics of how many people who have health insurance. So it says 92% of Americans have health insurance of some sort. Now, their health insurance is not, I don't think it's always like the case like here in Ireland, where you might get a lot of your surgeries like paid for to a certain extent. Like, they'll have maybe like little bits taken off of it. But so it says 92% of Americans have health insurance and 8% are uninsured. But of that 8%, you won't believe how big of a number that 8% is. 26 million people are uninsured.
Yeah.
And healthcare for them is not like, here, where you're going to the doctor and it's 50 quid.
Yeah.
It's thousands.
But if you look at, like, the likes of the NHS, even the HSE, like, there is, you're covered in some aspects, but I'm not sure if it's the same in the US. So when you're uninsured, there's very little that can be done because of the number of people that need to be attended to. There's only so much free or subsidized services people can give out before it's taken a toll. And that's the really sad thing. Like, I have friends that, like, my friend's from America, but she was very young and she broke her arm, and her and her brother went to the hospital. I remember her telling me this story, and she went in and her arm's literally broken, and the nurse is like, do you have insurance? And she's like, no. And she was like, well, I can't help you. And it's like, those things is crazy, because when you look at a child, your first thing shouldn't be like, oh, do you have insurance? It should be, I want to help. And it's like, it's part of society, but it's also part of, like, just being a human. Like, society, like, from the human side, you want to help. But if you help, you can't help 26 million people. And that's on society for, like, introducing insurances to make people better, for profiting off sick and the ill. So
so this is some more statistics, especially now I've kind of like filtered it to Black people specifically, and it says for people in poverty-stricken areas between the ages of 19 to 64, there's 59.3% of Black adults that have public coverage. So that's Medicaid, CHIP, and Medicare. And there's 58.7 received public insurance. So at least there's little bits there, and it's saying for the uninsurance rate, 9.7 of Black Americans were uninsured in 2023, which I think is one of the highest rates. And then there was 4.8 of Black children. So I think in the poverty-stricken areas, that's still not a big enough number. 59%. That's 41% of people who aren't insured between the ages of 19 to 64.
Yeah.
So anything happening to you, you're screwed. And as you can see in her case, this is why she's working 2 jobs to pay for her kids' medicine.
Yeah.
And then I think I also looked up the statistics for Black women, single mothers. Let me find it here. Okay, so once again, this is for America. There's 47% of Black women that have never been married. 26 married. 16% it has as divorce and separate. So 13% divorced, 3% separated. And it says unpartnered adults, remain unpartnered, never married, not cohabitating. So like 61% of Black adults remained unpartnered, and that's the highest number out of all the races. And Black women face the highest dating burnout with just 28.6 married versus 52.4 for white women.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of single Black women out there.
I think in like it's 100%.
It's everywhere.
I think there's just a lot of single mothers out there though in general.
Yeah.
I think so. Like we're literally looked there at like being like single moms. Like we've come out of the era of like where marriage is something that should happen, and people somehow a choice are choosing to be single mothers. Fair play to you, but a lot of people aren't choosing that as a choice. It's sort of been given it to them from their circumstances, their situations. And I think it's definitely as a single mom, like there's being raised by one, I think you definitely see that the struggle is so much harder to actually like look after kids, provide for your kids, work. Like there's a stigma there. Like you could do everything and it's still not going to give you a 2-person income. Do you know what I mean? And it's a real sadness of it all, because you'll just never like you want to give out. People want to give everything to their kids, and sometimes they're put in situations where they physically cannot. They can just do the best that they can.
100%. It says here in America, 27% of Black households are headed by women with no spouse present, over twice the national average for all women. So like it is a massive problem. And then it's like, I know we're also talking about single women, but there's also married women who might as well be single women, having their partners there, and it's as if they still don't have the help. And I'm like, I'm just so grateful for my mama, because I never lacked nothing.
Do you get
Bad B. I know she watches this episode. I'm talking to you, girl. Bad B, mama. Bad B.
Shout out to all the people who like are just going against all the odds, to be honest.
Yeah, because the world and life just doesn't help, especially with how the economy is going at the moment. But damn, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. That, you know what, that is just someone's reality. And this is why I've always said it's like me having a child without being married, because I'm like, it's just so hard for women that it just scares me. Like what a lot of these women have to do, because like, I'm not saying it's easy for men to walk away, because I don't think it should ever be easy for you to walk away from your child. But it's just so much harder for women to separate themselves from their babies.
It's the stigma. Well, I think the first thing is it grows. Your baby, most of the time, your baby will grow inside of you. So you've built that bond for 9 months. Like you've been protecting for 9 months. And like, yes, dads will get their bond, and it's not taking away from that. But I think it's the stigma of being a woman and having a child. You get me? Like, let's say a dad comes in late after dropping the kids to school. It's like, oh, fair play, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you've done loads. Do you get me? Like, you're going out there. A woman comes late after dropping her kids. It's like, don't make this a habit. Yeah, don't make this a habit. Like, you have a priority because you chose.
Yeah.
Like, because we look at, like, I think we're all like brain, like wired to think, oh, like it's a choice. If women do anything outside of looking after children, it's a choice. It's not a need. Where men, they need to provide, they need to do this thing. But women also, we actually live in a world where you actually need 2 income households to survive these days. Like,
say that again.
Literally, bro, pay me my wage at home. Do you get me? If I could. But it's like, we need 2 incomes. So it's not a choice that women just have to go and work. Like, we have to do it. We may want to do it.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't, like, we shouldn't have a stigma against us. But unfortunately, I feel like that's going to take a really long time to weed out. It is.
100%.
We just have to help each other out anyways. And just give grace as well. But yeah, there should be a lot of communities coming together. We should create communities.
Yeah.
You know, be great examples for, you know, female children growing up, and also male children as well. More male communities. I know we've been going on about the women's side, but males as well men need more communities. They need to come together and educate each other and how to be better men for each other.
There's
as well.
this thing that I've actually seen on TikTok, and it's this guy who owns a shop, and it's something that he does within his neighborhood. So whenever the kids come in and they get higher grades than they did last year, he lets them come in and take things from their shop as like presents and stuff. And so they come in, they show their report card to him, and they show him last year and this year. So he's able to see, and you can see that he's speaking life into these kids. And then he's like, go ahead, you can get whatever you want. A majority of the time when the kids pick up things, they're not picking up things just for themselves. They're picking up things for their siblings or for their moms. You'll see them pick up the eggs, the bread, like things that they know their moms would need. And then there was this one kid in specific, like you could see how quiet it was. And I think he asked if he could get something for his mom for Mother's Day. He wanted like flowers. So now that's also encouraged the community to start sending stuff for specific children. So, you okay, baby girl? Hay fever. Their water.
No, my
You
God.
good? You're good?
For his next 2 seconds, sorry.
You're fine, baby girl. So it's kind of like also encourage the community to start donating to the kids. So other people are now starting to see all these like shy, quiet kids come out of their shell. And then I think there was this guy who was like, I'm going to send him a scooter. And now they're sending bikes to kids. So like all these kids who are growing up in disadvantaged areas are now starting to be raised by the community. So shout out to TikTok and shout out to that man. It was really beautiful to see.
Anything that we can do, any way we can just speak positive or be good role models to young ones around. Like it takes like literally 2 words. You're doing great. You know,
speak life.
Obviously, like I grew up on. I said in the last pod that like I never grew up with, you know, women telling me I look beautiful. Just even telling a little girl, you look beautiful. I love your hair. Just little things like that. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about the movie as well. We want to know your opinions. Is there anything else we need to?
Guys, so House of Haka, Vegas meets London party on Friday. So we'll see you guys there. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and tune in next week for your
weekly subscription to the gym.
For your meat,